So this was the other story idea that was on that Patreon poll that didn't quite make it, but I still had the idea and I couldn't let it go. So yeah, as you can see, it is Gravity Falls and Frankenstein. So yeah, I thought this would be a fun one to do. So let's get into it. So the story begins in, I guess you could say, somewhere in season 2. Like and basically what it is that Dipper's just kind of like reading through the journal, and Ford's back. Like, this is right. Like, Ford is returned and all that. And Ford is like, Dipper's kind of going over the journal with him, and he's like, "Hey, Uncle Ford, there's this page on here. There's like a few pages missing on here, and one of them was talking about like, or like half a page was missing." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I ripped up some things that were a little too dangerous." And he goes, "Yeah, but here's the thing. Why does one of the names say? Why does one of the pieces of the puzzle say this page say Frankenstein?" And he's like, "Oh, that, yeah. Frankenstein's real." And he's like, "You're shitting me. Like Victor Frankenstein. He's real. He's actually real." And he's like, "Oh, well, I was talking I was referring to Henry Frankenstein. You see, Dipper, a long time ago, Mary Shelley did base the events of Frankenstein off of an event. They just changed the names. His real name was Henry Frankenstein. If you noticed, that's not really real, because in the book it is Victor Frankenstein. In the movie, in the original Boris Karloff movie, which this universe takes place in, he is Henry. So I just want to step out before anyone goes, actually, yeah. Before anyone actuallys me in the comments, this is more off the movie. We're kind of taking a little joke. We're jabbing at the book a bit. Just wanted to be clear on that. Just to quote Spaceballs. Everybody got that? Anyway, so Ford basically explains that, yeah, the book was based off an actual thing. There was a guy. His name wasn't Victor Frankenstein. It was Henry Frankenstein, and Mary Shelley was present. She was a girl in the same village where the monster was created. And yeah, there was a monster. There was even a bride, and there was even stories that there were even other appearances of the monster and descendants of Frankenstein who consistently kept creating monsters. And he's like, "So you're telling me, like, does that mean like Dracula and like the Invisible Man and like fucking Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and the Phantom of the Opera, they're all real?" And Ford's like, "You best not think about that." It's like, it's better you don't think about that. But yeah. And he's like, "Okay, so what does this have to do with, what does the Frankenstein bloodline have to do with Gravity Falls?" And Ford then explains, well, one of the Frankensteins came to Gravity Falls and they all continue his ancestors' experiment. And they're like, "Did all of them try that?" And he's like, "Yeah, one point or another, at least a good number of the Frankensteins, it was almost like a curse. Like they could, like after Henry tried to bring back the monster or make their own monster, they would try to do things their way, but it always failed. But no matter what, at least some of the members of the family did try to continue their Henry's legacy. It was almost like the family bloodline was cursed from then on out after what Henry had done." But one of those members of the Frankenstein family took refuge in Gravity Falls, and he's like, "Oh, that's awesome! So you went to the castle, or you went to their home, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, but I didn't stay there. I saw it and saw how much how dangerous it was if the world found out that the Frankenstein monster, the Frankenstein experiment, was actually real. Could you imagine like what the world powers would do if we could control life and death?" He's like, "You gotta show me. Like, you have got, like, I get what you're saying, but like, you have gotta show me. Like, the idea that Frankenstein was that the Frankenstein bloodline was real, you have gotta show me." So Ford's like, "Okay, but I'm telling you, we don't touch anything and don't take pictures, no nothing." So Ford brings Dipper along, and he brings him to the house of Frankenstein that is like squared off in the edge of the town. Like it is like deep secluded in the woods of Gravity Falls, and it's this massive manor. It is this manor in disrepair. So, and they go inside and they see like it is it's rotted, it's everything. And he's like, this was it. Like Dipper's just all excited. It's like, this was it. Like this was the house of Frankenstein. And Ford's like, yeah. And he's like, was there a lab? And he's like, yeah. Come on. So Ford brings Dipper down to the lower catacombs. He finds like an old laboratory, and he's like, did you ever find like the notes like to work these things? And he's like, I looked high and low all over this place, but I figured it was for the best that we don't try to play God. If it was any indication, we don't do this. Like, Dipper, I'm telling you, and I'm trusting you to leave this alone. Like, man wasn't meant to control the power of the powers of life and death. Sometimes dead is better. That's what we need. That's what I need to trust you. I'm trusting you that we don't come back here, because if anyone found out about and found those lost notes of the Frankenstein family and tried to repeat the process of Henry Frankenstein, no good will come of it. So they leave. But of course, Dipper is just like all like psyched out that like he was in the presence of the Frankenstein family, and he's just kind of thinking like, I have to go back to see like if I get like I just got to see it again. And this time, like as he's sneaking out of the mystery shack, he runs into Seuss, who's taking out the garbage. He's like, oh dude, where are you going? He's like, it's nothing, Seuss. I'm just going on for a little nightly walk. He's like, can I go with you? I'm kind of bored, and Grandma locked me out of the house again. So, Dipper's like, okay, Seuss, I am going somewhere, but you have got to, like, be cool. So I'm going to take you with me, and we're going to go look around this old building. He's like, oh, I love old buildings. They remind me of my grandfather, except they're still around, and he's not. So, Dipper takes Seuss to... he takes him to the Frankenstein manor, and they're just looking around, and because Dipper explains like, I'm trying to find like this is the house of Frankenstein. We're gonna go look around and see if we can find like anything that belonged to Victor. Belonged to Henry or any of the family members. So they're looking around through the old lab, and eventually Dipper does come across Frankenstein's journal, the Frankenstein journal, and it's got like all the letters, all the research, all of it. And then Seuss stumbles upon something deeper in the laboratory. The remains of the original monster, the original like Karloff monster. That's all just kind of sitting there dead and deactivated. And even like over the years, it's very clear that time has not been kind to this corpse. It's shriveled and it needs new body parts. And Dipper's like reading through the journal of the last Frankenstein, and he's like, I found my great-grandfather's creation, but to no avail I was able to bring it new life, and one day I hope I will. So far I've been unable to bring it back, but hopefully I will, and I will, I will change the name Frankenstein to one of infamy, to one of pride, and a name that will be heralded by all of science. So Dipper is just kind of like takes the note and he's like, let's go. Because now he's like, he found the monster. He and Seuss leave. But as they're leaving, he's like reading through the journal. He's like reading through and he's like, he's reading it and he's just kind of like looking over all the research and he goes, it could work! So Dipper now gets it in his head that he can bring back the Frankenstein monster. And Seuss is like, oh, dude, I don't know. Defying the laws of life and death seems a little out of my element. And Dipper's like, you can be my head. You can be my henchman. You could be my Igor. And Seuss is like, oh, I always wanted to be an assistant. So Seuss becomes like, so Dipper decides like after reading through reading through all of the research and hiding it from Ford, he's basically like, we're going to need body parts, and Seuss is like, where are we going to get that, dude? And Dipper's like, well, okay, we're going to have to like look through some local cemeteries. And so they go through the cemeteries and look for freshly dead body parts. And of course, Dipper and Seuss are like are playing it close to the chest, so they're just basically like, they are basically like pretending to be like, oh, we're just doing guy stuff. It's fine, Mabel. Everything's cool. Everything's fine. And as they're like digging up like they're digging up old bodies, Dipper's like getting really into it. He's like, it's just resting now, waiting for new life to be breathed into it. Do I need to leave you alone with the corpse, dude? No, I'm good. So Dipper's like as they're working on it, like him and Seuss are working on it, getting all the old laboratory equipment put together. And of course, Ford and Stan and Ford are like, that kid's up to something. What did you tell him, Ford? And he's like, I told it, like, everything's fine, we're good. But we should probably check this out. So everyone else, Mabel, Wendy, Stan, Ford, they follow Ford to to the old Frankenstein manor, and Dipper has been in the midst of putting the body back together, but he needs a brain. Fortunately, he's looking through the obituaries, and he's like, an old college professor died yesterday, and his brain's on display. Seuss, can you go get it? He's like, oh yeah, totally. You could count on me, dude. I totally won't botch this in any way, shape, or form. That doesn't put it's still a lot of confidence in me, Seuss. But sure, I gotta work on this. I'd go get it myself, but I gotta finish putting these body parts together. So go get me that brain. So Seuss leaves to go get the brain. And meanwhile, in the Seuss is left, and at the same time, the rest of the family has reached the manor, and they find Dipper in the midst of putting a body together, rebuild it. Basically, he's rebuilding the old monster. And everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing? It's just like, he's standing there like, hey guys, this isn't what it's exactly what it looks like. And Ford is just furious. He's like, I told you, leave it alone. I told you to leave all of this alone. But here you are, putting the monster back together. Did none of it, I trusted you to leave this alone. And Stan's just like, wait, that monster's real? You're not just playing with dead stuff? Oh, thank God it's not a weird necrophilia kink. I was scared for a second. But this would be really cool. Like, listen to Ford. Leave the monster alone. We could make a killing with the body alone. Stanley! Sorry, I'm thinking with my money again. But, Mabel and Wendy think this is the coolest shit ever. But at the same time, they also understand, what you're doing here is really bad. In fact, Wendy gets too close to one of the some of the lab equipment, and it shocks her and leaves little white streaks in her hair. Little Bride of Frankenstein reference right there. But yeah, Seuss, meanwhile, he's gone to the morgue to collect the professor's brain, and you know what exactly happens. He fumbles it. He can't remember, he can't remember which label it is, and he takes the wrong brain. So he comes back with the brain in the midst of everyone arguing over, bringing the monster back. And so Seuss is like, oh, I picked a bad time to come back. And everyone's like, get that brain! We can't let him have that. He's like, and Dipper's like, relax, it's, the monster's brain's gonna be different this time. And Ford's like, do you know how many members of the Frankenstein family have said that? Oh, it'll be different this time. I found the right brain. It never works, Dipper. It never works. Why do you have to, why do you insist on doing something like this? And he's like, I want to prove that I can do this. So, Dipper, takes the brain. They're basically it wasn't Dipper, it was Ford who takes the brain. He takes it away and, threatens to destroy it. And he's like, I'm doing you a favor. We're not bringing this back. And you got to rebuild some trust with me. I'm taking this brain back to the morgue. Unfortunately, Seuss is like, well, good thing it's not the only brain I had, dude. And Dipper's like, oh, Seuss, you madman. Why are you still helping me? He's like, because it feels nice to help you, man. Like, I love being your Igor. Oh, and he's like, Seuss, Dipper's just like, you're a bro. So he puts while everyone else is just leaving, everyone, like, even Dipper's told to never come back here, but at the dead of night, he sneaks back in and puts the brain in. And, of course, everyone figured out, oh, he went back there, didn't he? So they go back, see Dipper and Seuss applying the brain in, and in the midst of what's going to be a stormy night. And they're like, no, you're not doing this. And he's like, the hell I am. Raises the thing up and just tells them, now you're going to have to, like, sit and watch as I do what no Frankenstein has ever done. And lightning strikes it. They lower it back down, and the hand just starts moving. He's like, it's alive. It's alive! I always wanted to say that. So yeah, the monster's brought back, and everyone's just like, holy shit, he did it. So they all leave, except for Ford and Seuss and Dipper, who are, like, watching over the monster. Because he's not, like Ford's not like, you did this! You brought this back. And Dipper's like, you really gotta trust me here, Uncle Ford. Everything's gonna be fine. I learned from the mistakes of the other, of the past Frankensteins. Like, I'm not a Frankenstein. And Ford goes, you are a Frankenstein. And Dipper's like, excuse me? You want to run that by me again, Fordsy? And Ford goes, so, funny story. Your mom... How do I put this? We're the last Frankensteins. That's the castle here was by happenstance. I found this out a while ago in my during my research here at Gravity Falls. This was your great grandfather's castle of manor, and thereby your great grandfather is Henry Frankenstein. And Dipper's just like, that's why the name Frankenstein's in the journal. It's not because it's just here. It's our fucking bloodline. And he's like, yeah. I mean, your mom's side of the family are Frankensteins. And he's just like, and you want to, that's why you didn't want me to make this thing. He's like, yeah, because you were gonna, it's never gonna work. I tried to bring it back, but I just could never fix it. You went further than me, and I understood that this was a bad idea. So, yeah. But as they're arguing, the monster comes in. And you're like, Seuss, turn out the light. Just walks in, looks around, and he's just like, sit down. Sit down. There, you see, he learns commands pretty well. The monster's strangling him, and Seuss and Ford are like in horror and panic, and Dipper's like, quick, give him the what? 2 syllables, 3 syllables. Said a dirty word. He said a dirty word. He said a dirty word, dog. No, give him the sedative. So they knock the monster out, and Dipper's just standing there like, sedative. Seuss, come here. Sit down. Seuss just sits on the floor. Oh no, up here. So Seuss, when I told you to bring me a brain, that wasn't the professor's brain like the one Ford took, was it? No, dude, I didn't manage to get it. Ah. Now, will you tell me the truth? And you won't be angry, dude? I will not be angry. It was someone else's brain. Okay. Do you want to tell me whose brain I did put in that body? Abby someone. Abby someone. Abby who? Abby normal. Abby normal. I'm almost sure of it, dude. Yeah, Abby normal. Oh, Seuss. Are you telling me that I put an abnormal brain in a 6'8", 17-inch wide, 300-pound gorilla? Is that what you're telling me? So, yeah, Ford has to like pry Dipper off, and that's the moment when Ford is just like, we have to destroy the monster now. Don't you understand? This is exactly what happens. This is why our family can't do this shit. So I will stay here, and you go home. I will take care of disposing of the monster. So Dipper agrees, and he and Seuss go home while Ford deals with disassembling the monster. But monster escapes, knocks Ford out, and travels into the forest of Gravity Falls. And it's all from there, the monster encounters other people. He encounters Pacifica, scares the hell out of her. He runs into the Manitors and actually fights and kills one. And just kind of wanders around as it's just terrorizing the countryside. And of course, Mabel's like, "What did you do?" And he's like, "Okay, I brought it back, and Ford said he was going to bring it, but he was going to end it, but clearly that's not the case. Also, Mabel, we got to talk about our family bloodline when this is over, because I have got some news for you." So they're like, "Okay, let's just be cool. We can probably stop the monster on our own. We can probably take care of this ourselves." And Stan's like, "Too late, I called a mob." And they're like, "Why the fuck would you do that?" And you're like, "You know how much torches and pitchforks are going to go for here? It's going to be awesome." So there's now a mob, but of course Stan didn't say, "Oh, Dipper didn't create the monster." It's like, "Oh, it's just some random monster terrorizing the townsfolk." So they all start hunting the monster, and eventually Dipper does encounter the monster again, and he's like, "I am so sorry I failed you. I just wanted things to be better. I just wanted to prove that I could be better." And the monster's just looking at him, just kind of all looking. He's like, and then the monster finally speaks and goes, "You know better than Frankenstein." He's like, "Yeah, I know." And eventually the monster grabs him, carries him away to an old factory, which the monster, the people of Gravity Falls find him and corner him, and they set the place on fire, not realizing Dipper's in there. And Ford wakes up, he's like, "Where's the monster's there? Dipper, it's got the Dipper. We have to go in and save him." So they run in, find Dipper, who's there, instead of being attacked by the monster, he's embracing it. And he's like, "Don't you understand? I get it now. Mabel, we're Frankensteins. We belong dead." But rather than let him get killed, they grab him, pull him off, and the monster's just like, "Yes, you go, you live." And the factory comes down on the monster, and Dipper's just kind of left there, all beaten and bruised, and left in his hubris. And by the end of it, he's taken back home, and Ford's like, "Hey, so," and Dipper's just like, "Don't, please, I can't be talked down to right now. I feel I gave that creature life, but all I did was curse him." And he's like, "You're right, but that's kind of our curse, really. I just didn't I was more afraid, not so much of you turning into our ancestor, but turning into me, because God knows I've delved too deep into forbidden knowledge. Maybe that's always been the thing, is that's maybe I just found other monsters instead of making them." Curse of Frankenstein, indeed. So they reconcile, and Ford leaves, and Wendy comes in, and she's just like, "Oh, you look good." And Dipper's like, "Speaking of looking good, you left the streaks in your hair." And she goes, "You like it? I think I might keep it for a while." And he's like, "Yeah, I like." So, and she's just like, well, I'll be here to help you, get you back to full health. So, you mind if I stick around and talk to a real Frankenstein? And he's like, I would love it. So yeah, so there's the story. Yeah, this was the one I really, as you can see, had a lot of thought in for this one, and I couldn't pass up a good young Frankenstein joke. So yeah. Anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this? Comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.